Welcome to It Ain't Rocket Science. I'm Adam Balkin, and I'm here at the E3 Video Game Convention in Los Angeles, where gaming entrepreneurs and enthusiasts from across the globe gather to share the latest gaming industry news and merchandise. But before we get into the games, let's put this program into perspective. Time Warner Cable's Connect a Million Minds initiative has reached a milestone. With the help of its partners, 1 million young minds have been connected to science, technology, engineering, and math. To celebrate this Million Minds milestone, we've been looking through our rocket science archives to reintroduce you to a couple of our favorite rising STEM stars. In this episode, we head to the nation's capital, and in particular, the White House, where this time around it was less pomp and circumstance and more science, as the Commander-in-Chief hosted the White House Science Fair, where students were hoping to get that presidential seal of approval. From D.C., we're off to Michigan, home of the U.S. auto industry, to check out what some students with a need for speed are doing that's getting them ahead in the job race. And it's all about code as we go from one end of the country to the other to see what computer programmers of tomorrow are doing today. To learn more about Time Warner Cable's Connect a Million Minds initiative and to follow the journey, visit connectamillionminds.com. At the White House, it's been a long tradition to honor and host winning amateur and professional athletes. But recently, President Obama has begun a new practice, and he's been inviting some of the best and brightest students who excel in math and science to take part in his personal science fair, telling them that they too are outstanding in their fields. Our Cheryl Wills was on hand.
When Alana Simon was 12 years old, she was diagnosed with a rare form of pediatric liver cancer. She's 18 now and cancer-free, but she remembers all too well how doctors were initially puzzled by her illness.
My diagnosis process was pretty difficult. They at first thought I had lactose intolerance.
With a passion for science and research, the student teamed up with her surgeon and found a common mutation that causes the disease, and she hopes to someday develop a blood test to diagnose young patients. And at the White House Science Fair, she had the opportunity to show President Obama firsthand how she came up with the idea. Dozens of students who have a passion for science, technology, engineering, and math visited the White House to showcase their award-winning STEM projects.
It was absolutely surreal. I still can't really believe it.
It's an honor to represent my state, my high school, and my team.
And President Obama also took the opportunity to announce a new initiative focusing exclusively on girls and women.
Fewer than 1 in 5 bachelor degrees in engineering or computer science are earned by women. Fewer than 3 in 10 workers in science and engineering are women. We've got to change those numbers.
This was music to the ears of 12-year-old Jada Colazo from the Bronx. It was the first time that Jada ventured outside of New York City, and she found herself standing shoulder to shoulder with the president on stage with dreams of becoming a pediatrician.
I like helping children and their health because I have younger siblings at home.
The president's announcement coincides with Time Warner Cable's Connect a Million Minds milestone. Executives say they have exceeded their goal to get 1 million young people connected to STEM education.
We know so much of our workforce has to have expertise in science, technology, math, and engineering. So the idea that we could provide a pipeline for the next generation of cable engineers, that's pretty exciting stuff.
For It Ain't Rocket Science, I'm Cheryl Wills.
The White House Science Fair is a great showcase for these students, and for many, just the beginning of a journey that may lead them to lifelong careers in the sciences. We caught up with one student who attended last year's fair to check out where his aspirations have led him. 2 years ago, Grayson McCluskey was a fresh-faced inventor competing in Time Warner Cable's Wouldn't It Be Cool If competition. His baby-safe rider took home the top prize, winning him a trip to New York City to work with innovation consulting firm Fahrenheit 212. He even got the chance to show off his invention at the 2013 White House Science Fair, but what's he been up to lately?
We have filed for a patent. I have incorporated my business. It's Aperture Innovations, and we have a business plan, and right now we're looking to raise some venture capital so we can get that physical prototype. With his patent and business plan in hand, Grayson is heading off to college in the fall at Appalachian State University, where he's going to study industrial engineering, a major he plans on using to expand on his mobile monitoring device. With the patent, we're able to, in the future, hopefully apply this to infants and toddlers and people with disabilities and the elderly and dogs and maybe any other kind of other animals.
He says while the journey hasn't always been easy, he's learning a lot and that other aspiring young entrepreneurs can learn from his experience.
Definitely patience is key, I've learned, because even though it's been a year and a half, I have learned that there are times when I just wanted to give up, but I pushed through, and even though it can be exhausting, the biggest thing that I've learned from this experience is that there are people out there that do care for the younger generation. I think that's really cool.
It's only been around for a few years, but the World Science Festival is drawing an enthusiastic audience, making a name for itself and becoming a bit of a tradition in New York City. Our Shazia Khan tells us what was on tap this year.
This isn't your school's science fair. It's a week-long science celebration with events ranging from brainy theatrical performances to STEM on the street, where at the Washington Square Park Street Fair, students dove headfirst into science, technology, engineering, and math. For one, you can hop aboard a flight simulator.
I thought it was really cool.
Here, booths on everything under the stars and beyond gave kids and adults an up-close and personal understanding about the world around them.
It's changing the cultural perception that science is not just this thing you do because you have to do it in the classroom. It's something that you want to do because it's the coolest, most exciting thing that you can imagine.
It's awesome because they learn in school, but to come out and actually do it with the child and actually see you working with them and doing activities also, it's great. I love it.
Everything around you is science, and if you don't like science, then you don't like anything.
Fairgoers dressed the part and even played the part.
Temperatures tonight will fall to near the single digits.
At the Time Warner Cable meteorology booth, kids reported on the weather. At another booth, folks whipped up scents using chemistry as their guide.
I'm sitting inside a prototype of a lunar rover, and while this fair bustles with interactive exhibits, it's the human-to-human connection that makes experience here out of this world.
Like a meet and greet with astronaut Mike Massimino, who's logged nearly 600 hours in space.
I can remember Neil Armstrong. I was 6 years old when he took those steps. I grew up in Long Island and watched that happen and dreamt about being an astronaut, and that's still an option for these kids. So I want them to know that that's something that they can do with their lives.
And the star talk didn't stop there. NASA system engineer Babak Ferdowsi, whose stellar hairdo gained him national media attention during the Mars Curiosity landing, was on hand at the Intrepid Sea, Air and Space Museum for a special screening of the film Gravity. He had some words of encouragement for young science enthusiasts.
It's super exciting for me to kind of see kids realize that they can be themselves. I think one of the things I love about engineering and science is that in reality, what matters the most is the quality of your work.
For It Ain't Rocket Science, I'm Shazia Khan.
All right, we have to stop here for a quick break, but coming up, we'll check in with one budding engineer who will have you green with envy over his achievements, while some racing enthusiasts are speeding up solar. And later, it's all about code as students across the country get plugged into Code Day and game designers at E3 reveal their latest work. To find out more about the road to connecting 1 million young minds to science, technology, engineering, and math, visit connectamillionminds.com and follow the journey. But before we go to break, let's take a look back at some of our stellar STEM moments through the years.
I'm very proud to have been in a very fortunate position to do some wonderful things with my life. And so I'd like to share those with the young people here.
When we got into the Soyuz and in the Shenzhou, which are the sort of the pods, I loved knowing how they worked, why they were designed that way. The design of them are absolutely extraordinary.
Everybody started talking about it. Physics teachers, physics professors, school groups. And I think that's a good thing.
I wanted to study animals since I was a tiny, tiny little girl. I knew I wanted to go to Africa when I grew up, live with animals and write books about them. Eventually I got there. Must be passionate.